Hey crawlers, I'm Stillskin. Let's get crawling. We are going to go down to dungeon level 9 now and continue our Spellcaster run. I think we're kind of at the point now where we're not really going to be covering beginner tips too much. I've hit on, the basics, and so I'm really just going to kind of play now, and as things come up I'll explain it, but this is going to be a little less hand-holdy. So if you just want to kind of watch somebody play the game, learn a little bit as you go, this might be a good video for you to watch. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to shoot Frost Breath at imps until they die. We're going to do all the things that you do in Crawl, including probably die. But, we'll get there. Maybe we won't die. We do want to go to the lair pretty soon. So I usually like to clear down to about dungeon level 10 before I go to the lair. We actually just got a Book of Frost, which is kind of interesting given that we are a white Draconian. So we could, in theory, switch to Frost, and if we did that, we would have a +2 boost to it. It could be worth it, but with this book, I don't think it is going to be worth it, just because we've put most of our points into conjurations, and Throw Icicle is the only thing that would even be a little bit good, and it wouldn't even be that great at this point. So I don't think we want to switch to Frost just because we have this book. We might pick up some of that stuff later. This Wyvern is hitting harder than I thought. He is flying, so I'm going to use Frost Breath, which will knock him back if it hits him, because that's the special thing Frost Breath does. And it worked. Hey, how about that? So now we're going to back up into this corner and continue killing them. I think I'm going to try a Sticky Flame on him and just back away. It's going to be a lot smarter than Flame Tongue. I haven't played this guy in a little while, as you can tell from the length of time it's been since I made a video. So we'll just get used to it. I'll look at the inventory in a second once we deal with these guys. This is a white, and he can reach us with that halberd. I'm going to go ahead and pop down a Conjure Flame and then back up one so that he can't hit us. And then we'll use this strategy here. An interesting thing that you can do with a ranged attack. So I'm targeting like normal now. I press Z to cast a spell, selected the spell, just like I've been doing. Or rather, this is my Frost Breath. Anyway, normally you would hit enter and it'll just go to wherever it is you told it to go. But let's say I am targeting this imp right in front of me, my cursor is on him, and I hit enter. It's still going to continue forward in a straight line up to its range. But maybe I don't want that, because my Frost Breath, if it hits my Flame Cloud, could actually dissipate the flames. That's not what I want. So what you can do is actually hit at instead of enter, and your ranged attack will stop at whatever tile you're targeting. So I'm just going to target it right at the imp in front of me. Of course it missed, but hey, at least it didn't hit the Flame Cloud, so we're still safe from this white for now. I would really, really love for this imp to get out of my way. He's really being more annoying than challenging, but he is going to make it so this white is more annoying to kill, because the white can reach past him. Fortunately, imps do blink around randomly, so we can just conjure Flame again, and this time the white's dead. The imp is not going to mind going through the flame because he's immune to fire, so he's just going to walk through. That time our Frost Breath finally hit. Of course, there is another imp to kill. Imps are just, they're like trolls. They're like little... If you've ever been around a 9th grader at all, I'm a teacher, so maybe this is not a good example. I'm around 9th graders a lot. There's a sort of an archetype of 9th grader where they're boys. They're really small and skinny, like they look like they could be in 6th grade. And those kind of boys are usually your most obnoxious ones. That's basically what Crimson Imps are. They think they're a lot bigger than they are, but they're not. I don't really know where I was going with that story, but I decided I'm going to use Sticky Flame on this Hornet. Hornets can be somewhat scary for the exact reason that we're experiencing now. They can paralyze you with their poison. However, the reason I let him get next to me and sticky flamed him is that this one sticky flame will probably kill him even though we're paralyzed. We can move again. He is still alive. I'm just going to back up, let him die from this sticky flame. Now we have this hungry ghost to deal with. Hungry ghosts can be kind of annoying. They will reduce your hunger pretty rapidly as you fight them. It's not going to hurt us that badly because we have an amulet of the gourmand, if you recall. So we can eat chunks of flesh whenever we want, and we were already pretty full up before we started that fight, so it was not really a big risk. Looking at this now, I'm realizing that we actually have an unidentified ring of evasion, which is probably higher than +1, so let's see if it actually is. No, it's still +1. Good. I think that might actually be the third +1 ring of evasion I've gotten in this game. It's pretty cool, I guess. Anyway, oh, okay, so we're a little low on mana and health, and an orc warrior is not something that you want to take lightly. The thing that will get you killed a lot is you'll see a situation where you'll probably win. Like this situation, I'm not going to do all the math, but I'll say there's probably like an 80-90% chance we could just kill him like this. Sticky flame, run away, whatever. But you have so many encounters in this game that if you take that mindset with every single one, you're going to eventually die. You'll have bad luck and you will be dead. So we're just going to back away and let's try and position ourselves a little away from the rest of these orcs. If we kill this little baby orc, the warrior will probably hear us, but then we can back around the other direction. So I'm going to get these baby orcs out of the way and run away this way. Yeah, that worked out pretty much how I wanted it to. So the basic principle there is if you see a guy that could possibly kill you, even if the possibility is low, just run away. As long as it's safe to run away, which it almost always is. Looks like he just drank a potion of invisibility, so we're just going to sticky flame him. Oh, we miscast it, but Sifmuna protected us. Thanks, Sifmuna. We're just going to do it again. Invisibility is not going to help you when you're covered in sticky fire that is melting your body. I had a stepdad who was in prison for 5 years, and he wasn't a very good guy, but one thing I learned from him is that when you're in prison, a good weapon is to get a Hershey's bar, like some kind of a chocolate bar, usually Hershey's because it's cheap, and melt it. So they'll get like a can of Sterno and some kind of some container that can be heated and put the chocolate bar in there. And they'll actually get that chocolate boiling, and then they will throw it onto someone. And boiling chocolate is really hard to get off, and it will horribly, horribly burn you. And so that's kind of what I imagine sticky flame is. That's what we're doing to this hippogriff right here. He should have thought about that before he decided to try to kill us. We have a lot of conjurations. I would really, really like to have more spells, some other thing that I can put points into that's useful, but we don't have other spells yet besides those frost ones we don't really want. So I'm going to go with a little bit more fighting for health, a little bit more spell casting for mana, and the other benefits you get, but mostly mana. Let's see. We could get Inner Flame, which can be nice. So the way Inner Flame works, if we take a look here, it's going to basically put a debuff on every enemy that we can see, and if we kill it while that debuff is on, it's going to explode. Now that explosion can hurt you too, but ideally, in theory, you are going to explode someone who is not near you, and it will explode his friends. It's going to work better when you have really high-powered range spells. We have Fireball, which is not bad. But I don't know if I really want to invest in Inner Flame yet. I think I would rather have other more versatile spells before I use spell levels on that. Granted, I could use Piety and forget a spell with Sifmuna, or even read a Scroll of Amnesia if I found one. Maybe one of these is Amnesia. But it just doesn't seem worth it. I don't really see myself using Inner Flame very much right now. I can always memorize it later if I want to. Going to hit him with some more Sticky Flame. I want to check my spell success rates. Looks like Fireball is down to 7%, which is pretty respectable. So I don't really think I want more in Conjurations just yet. It's just going to be way less efficient. So it's going to take us more, like 4 times more, almost 4 times more points to increase Conjurations by 1 than Spellcasting by 1. Not quite that much, but almost. So I'd rather get the most bang for my buck and get a little bit of Spellcasting. Soldier ants, like this guy here, are much stronger than your garden variety worker ants. So I'm just going to use Sticky Flame and back up. Looks like we have a hornet. I don't really like this because if we get paralyzed and then the hornet dies, the soldier ant could come and hit us. I don't think it's terribly risky. Yeah, I don't really see a ton of other options anyway. I'm just going to back up into this corridor and get that guy killed with Sticky Flame. We don't have a ton of mana now, so I'm just going to back up until I get some more. I have enough for Sticky Flame, and that's really all I need. And now we win the fight. I guess I should be eating chunks of flesh because I have Core Man. It's easy to forget. It's also not that important as long as you don't let yourself get super hungry. Ooh, a troll. Okay, so let's take a look at him. Hits for up to 20 damage and claw twice for up to 15 damage each. So he can either bite or claw twice. Yeah, so trolls hit pretty hard. I don't really want to be next to him, although I would like to use Sticky Flame. I think I'm just going to go with the old Conjure Flame and Flame Tongue strategy here. It's not going to be the best use of my mana, just because one Flame Tongue is going to do a lot less damage, or 4 Flame Tongues even will do less damage than 1 Sticky Flame and cost the same mana. But this way, I don't have to be next to a troll. So, yeah. And it was only the one guy. That's why you want to typically fight them one at a time. We could go to Lair now. I do want to go ahead and clear dungeon level 10 before I do that. I typically find that it's still relatively safe for me to clear 10 before I go into Lair. You usually will want to have poison resistance before you go there, but you don't always get it. So like right now, we just do not have poison resistance, and there's not really anything we can do about that. And it's not going to be the end of the world if we don't have it, especially since we are a ranged character. We're just going to want to be extra careful when it comes to things that can poison us. We have an invisible guy next to us, so of course we want to use Sticky Flame. These are unseen horrors. Of course we can see them now. So they're kind of like bats. They move really quickly and hit you and then back up, but they're also invisible, which can make them pretty irritating to kill if you cannot see them. So just one more reason to use Sticky Flame. It will let you kill invisible enemies, no problem. Granted, when it wears off, you have to reapply and kind of use your smartness and intelligence to make sure that you're actually hitting the thing. But it's pretty commonsensical. If it was right there and then you can't see it anymore, you know, chances are it's still there. This is a big kobold. Just burned him with some Sticky Flame. We're going to back up and recover mana and health. Even though it's just one kobold, you don't know what's behind him. Might as well retreat and recover while we can, and it's safe. Jelly here. It's not going to be too risky to kill a jelly from range, even though he can corrode. Doesn't have a ton of health. Scorpion, same deal. He can poison us. Not that strong at this point. Another little imp. Our little 9th grader friend with something to prove because he weighs 80 pounds and is 4.5 feet tall, and everyone else has hit puberty. It's a hard life, Crimson Imp. It's a really hard life. You'll get there someday. Maybe. Or maybe no one will ever love you, even your own mother. Who knows? Who's to say? Not me. I'm just a teacher. So we're burning these guys up pretty well. Still really wish I could get some other books besides the useless ones that I have. I mean, not that the Flame book is useless, but we already have all of the stuff from it that we want, and the Frost one is not really that helpful right now. I wouldn't have wanted to get next to this troll, but since we're already here, I'm going to Sticky Flame and back up. And I think we're just going to stick with that strategy. You know, we could have taken some damage, but I don't think we were really at risk of dying there. This is a Wraith. They can drain and slow you. They're not that scary, but if you let them slow you and there are scary enemies near you, then they can become a lot scarier. So just keep in mind that wraiths can slow you when you fight them. Just like the ghosts of your past can often haunt you and slow your ability to get work done because you're thinking about that breakup that you went through a few weeks ago, or whatever it is that is haunting you. This kind of wraith is a little more literal than that, I guess, but I'm sure in real life you've experienced something like that. Sorry, I like to have fun with this. We're gonna continue to use Sticky Flame when things are near us. I should point out though that I need to not be too reckless because, well, it's good to not die. If you saw that the screen was a little orange there, that's because I use a program called Flux that makes it easier for me to sleep and have less blue light, but I just turned it off, so we are back into daytime light here for you. Water moccasins, like this guy here, are pretty scary, but not too scary. I don't really want more spellcasting or fighting at the moment, but I could use more dodge, so we're going to invest in that. I really don't want to put points into fire magic at -2. I think it would help us a little bit, but we're not struggling so much that we have to. If things continue as they are and we still don't get a good book, I probably will have to though. And soon I'm going to switch back to conjurations, more to get Sif Moon of Piety faster than to actually have conjurations. It'll help us, it'll make Fireball and all this other stuff a little better, but we really would like to get some kind of other spell school that we can invest in that's useful. Earth, if we get good frost damage spells, something that will help us. Our health is about half now, so I need to play it a lot more safe. But we're at an area that we already explored, so I felt a little more comfortable running back with the Sticky Flame. Enemies like frogs are going to be faster than you anyway, so you can't necessarily run away from them even if you want to. I think this is going to be a case where I just waited a turn so they could see me, and then this way I can back up into a hall and drop a Conjure Flame. Sometimes frogs are stupid enough to walk into it. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. So I'm just going to use Flame Tongue and let them burn in there. They say that if you put a frog into a pot of water, that it will not jump out if you boil the water after you put it in, but that it'll jump out if you boil it and then put the frog in. These guys don't seem to have any qualms about jumping right into a raging inferno, so I don't know if that's true. I mean, this game is obviously based on real life, so yeah. Dodging is at level 4. It's not terrible, so I went back to conjurations. The situation we're in is not awesome because we're low on mana. This frog is faster than us, hits pretty hard. We have options, we have consumables, we're far from screwed, but we want to be aware that the situation we're in is dangerous and think carefully before we do anything. So if we had to, we could use a Potion of Might. Still not going to be awesome. Invisibility would probably help us a decent amount, at least at running away. We have a Scroll of Fear, which would scare him away. We could teleport. I think what I'm going to do first, though, is Frost Breath. And the reason I'm going to do that, this is a good time to point out, it's important to know your enemies, because there are quirks about a lot of different ones. So cold-blooded enemies, like this frog here, can be slowed by cold attacks, just like we could be before we were a white Draconian. Now we can't, but it used to be we were cold-blooded. So if we hit him with Frost Breath, there's a chance he'll get slowed, which will allow us to just run away, and then we can recover our mana. Of course, he didn't actually get slowed, so now the situation is slightly worse. We have almost full health, though, and we have 2 mana. We need 4 for Sticky Flame. My plan now, back up until I have 4 mana, use Sticky Flame. When my breath is back, I can hit him with that again. I'm thinking this will be enough to safely kill him without too much risk. He's maybe going to get some hits off on us as we run away, but nothing we can't handle. So, it's always good to just make sure that you're making the right call when it's a situation that could be dangerous. But, as long as you're careful, you can usually handle most things you run into. You just have to be smart how you do it. A wyvern here. If I recall, wyverns were hitting a little harder than I wanted them to, so worth a sticky flame. Not that hunger really matters at all. Here's another frog. I'm just going to wait at the edge of line of sight until he sees me. I would shout, but I don't want to attract attention from anyone who might be out of my line of sight. So now that he sees me, I'm just going to back up here, and I'll let him get a little closer, and then I'll put down a conjure flame so that he can walk into that. Thank you for doing that, my friend. Very kind. And easy way to kill him. Okay, Gastronach. This is a unique enemy. He's pretty hard to kill, and he hits really hard, but he's also slow. I want to point out here, he can bite for up to 40 damage. That's a lot of damage. He also has airstrike. This is smite targeted, so you cannot get away from it, and it will hit you for damage. He can also do a few other things. He can slow you, he can summon small mammals. The gist of it is you probably don't want to be next to him, especially as a caster, and you want to be prepared to run away as quickly as you possibly can if things go south. All of that said, we might be able to take him. We may have to use a potion of ambrosia to get our mana back, but he's so slow that we could, in theory, run away and safely do that. I think what I want to do is open with a couple fireballs. Actually, I'm going to try and come around from the other direction and see if we can get closer to him without being in his line of sight, because I want to be able to get the jump. Looks like we're not going to be that lucky. We're going to have to do it from this angle, although we could just shout and wait around the corner. The reason I want him to be a little closer is because I want to hit him with maybe 1 or 2 fireballs and then sticky flame and run away. And I'm probably going to go up these stairs that are right over here. Get my mana back, come back down and try again. That's kind of what I'm going with. I don't know if that's the best plan, and we're going to need to be careful when we come back down the stairs, but I think it can work just because he is quite slow. So I'm going to shout and immediately start running away toward the stairs and around the corner. Now when he comes around this corner, that's when I'm going to do fireball, and when he gets next to me, I'm going to use sticky flame. Make sure he's still coming. There he is. So fireball, fireball, fireball. Wait 1, he's next to us, sticky flame, back away. Again, he's so slow, he's a giant slug, we're just going to run away. The reason that I want to kill him, even though he's dangerous, is that he often comes with a pretty good hat. He can have a hat of intelligence, of magic resistance, of ponderousness, I think, which basically makes you a little slower but gives you some pretty good boosts. He got his health back more quickly than I thought he would. That's not ideal. And that looks like that airstrike just hit us for 24 damage. I don't really like that. I'm just going to run away. I don't think this is a good situation. We're not going to want to fight him. I think I overestimated my ability to take him on. So what we're going to do instead is go back down the stairs and just run away and avoid him as much as we can. Actually, this is a dead end down here, so let's go this way. Well, he's next to us, so I might as well use a sticky flame, but I think I'm still going to run away. He's got too much health and is hitting too hard for me to want to deal with that. We can always come back and kill him later when we're feeling stronger. He's one of those guys, you can just walk away. So never stay next to fighting a guy just because you thought you could take him when it turns out you really can't. It's just too risky. I'm getting really tired of this guy. He summoned, so I didn't want to kill him, but it's just taking too long to go away. We're still being followed because Gastronach is pretty smart. Even though he's a slug, his hat makes him intelligence. That's his sort of flavor text. And intelligent enemies can find you more easily. So he is still looking for us and has a vaguely good idea of where we are. Now he knows where we are. I'm just going to go down these stairs, and then I can always go back up a different set of stairs later. It just said you hear a distant snort. You can see that kind of near the bottom there in yellow. That means the labyrinth is on this floor. And the labyrinth is a decent way to get gear. And this is probably a good time to start reading scrolls because one of these might be magic mapping. And if we get that, we'll know exactly where the labyrinth is, because if we don't get there fast enough, it'll time out. So I'm just going to start reading scrolls, and hey, there's magic mapping. So now we can use Shift X and look around until we find where it most likely is. So this is the entrance to Shoals. This little portal here, it's the only portal on the floor, so this has got to be it. That's where we're going. Electric eel, no thank you. So since it's a timed portal, I am going to just kind of move toward it as quickly as I can. That's a Komodo dragon and a black mamba though. I don't want really anything to do with that situation, so we're going to go around those guys. I'm trying to get to it quickly, but not recklessly, because when you're reckless, bad things happen. Now we are mesmerized by these guys, so we have to go toward them. I'm going to try and angle it so that I can hit at least 3 of them with a fireball, which is really where fireball shines, is hitting more than one guy. I don't like this situation very much. I think, in fact, I'm going to not fight them at all. We're going to run away. Yeah, so as you can see, they're hitting us quite hard, and this is tempting me to use invisibility, actually, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. This is just a lot riskier than I would like. I really should have looked that this is a dead end. We don't have any way to dig or anything like that. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and use a teleport. It was a little wasteful, didn't need to do it if I had made smarter choices, but you know, here we are. There's another unique. This floor is pretty scary. This unique can also see invisible, and we're low on health. I'm going to go down these stairs because I do not want that person to kill us. See, this is getting kind of exciting. Let's go ahead and heal up. I think we might actually be able to take Nurgle, so I'm going to go back up the stairs. It says that ticking is urgent, which means that the portal will expire relatively soon. I'm going to ignore Nurgle for now and just continue to try to get to the portal, because sometimes you get some really good stuff in the labyrinth, and even though it can be a little annoying to navigate through, the Minotaur at the end is not usually that hard to kill. So here we are. It's the labyrinth. You're basically just going to want to manually explore around and try to get to the central area. And as you might expect for a labyrinth, it is designed to be a maze, so you don't get to remember your map permanently. But there are a few things that will help you. So you'll notice the walls have kind of a different texture in different places. This sort of like rough looking wall that we're near now is the kind of wall you see the furthest from where you need to be. This sort of thicker stone looking wall is going to be a little closer to where you need to be, and then as we get really close, you're going to start to see metal walls, and then once you see the actual place, a lot of times it's like green crystal walls or something like that, and there's a door or something. You know, it depends, but it's usually pretty obvious when you're there. This kind of wall that you see on my right is actually the very edge. So if you ever see that, you know that you're not going to go that way any further, and you need to go the other way if you can. This sort of metal wall we're seeing is what I was talking about, so that's a good sign. And it's not 100% accurate either. Sometimes the walls aren't actually giving you useful information. We're starving now because of this hungry ghost. But if you eat fruit, it only takes 1 action, and that'll give us enough to cast a spell at him, so we can kill him. And now we'll just go ahead and eat some food. No big deal. There are, you know, sometimes enemies in here, but they're usually nothing too bad. We can't use Sticky Flame on this shadow because he's a shadow. He doesn't have like a physical body to set on fire, but you can still shoot him with flame tongues. This little rectangle, no, that's probably not it. Usually if it's sort of like a flat rectangle, oh yeah, it is, okay. You don't usually see that many straight line walls like in a shape unless it's the actual place. He just hit us with a Tomahawk of Dispersal. Okay. I'm going to use Fireball. Wow. He's hitting us a lot harder than I thought he would. Okay, we're going to back up a bit. Okay, that's a dead end. We'll just go up here. Okay, let's hide. He is going to be pretty good at finding us. Let's use Conjure Flame. He can continue to throw tomahawks at us, but he probably has a limited amount, and we don't want him next to us. I'm going to continue to run away. Yeah, so the Minotaur is usually pretty good at finding you on account of you're in a labyrinth and he's a Minotaur. It's sort of part of his legend. This is a dead end. He's probably going to find us here, and when he does, I'm going to use teleport. He's a lot stronger than I recall him usually being. That's how it goes. I am going to use Ambrosia. Actually, this will confuse and cause me to regenerate. If he sees me, I'm going to use a Potion of Curing to recover from the confusion. But I think this is a good use of Ambrosia because it'll help us recover more quickly, and he's not here yet, so it's not really dangerous. So we got recovered. Now we can try to go back. Hopefully we can just do something like this. Maybe he's out of tomahawks. They might have buffed him. He's seeming a lot stronger than I remember. Okay, well, let's use Sticky Flame. Yeah, he doesn't seem to like Sticky Flame very much. Okay, there we go. An Evening Star is a very strong base weapon type. This particular one is not enchanted, but we might as well grab it because you never know when you might want a really strong melee weapon. It is stronger than our whip, although it has no brand, and our skill is pretty low, so I wouldn't be able to use it that effectively, but I'm going to keep it for now. So this is where all the loot is that the Minotaur has collected, along with the dwarf skeleton. There is a short sword, we don't really want that. Artifact bow, we're probably never going to use that. Might as well grab it, I guess. Let's see, a book. Okay. Well, this is not really exactly what I would have hoped for because it doesn't have anything with conjurations. But Passage of Galubria is a really good utility spell, and that'll give us another spell school to work on that's actually useful. So I'm going to go ahead and memorize that. Yeah, Passage of Galubria. Let's do it. And now that we have that memorized, we're going to switch over to Translocations as our school. We're not going to get this helmet because Draconians don't wear helmets. Why bother? And then we're going to leave. After that fun little adventure, I guess we're going to have to deal with these guys. It's a dead end if we run away the other way, so I think the thing to do here is going to be try to fight. I want to use Fireball because they're next to each other, and because it's ranged, obviously. We're probably not going to be able to kill Nurgle with before our mana runs out. So I may have to use wands and things. Let's see, paralysis, only a 15% chance. This is going to be a time to teleport away. I might have given it a shot if that Mamba weren't there. Even then, though, that would probably be a bad idea. So we're just going to teleport. This is probably a good time to go ahead and stop. I think we've had quite a few adventures today. If you enjoyed this, feel free to toss in a like or a subscribe, leave a comment. I'll try and respond, and I'll catch you next time, crawlers.